Awesome. All right, cool. So I'm Lucy. I only remembered that I was doing this talk when Liam emailed me last night, so I'm very woefully unprepared, so if this isn't the best talk you've ever heard, I'm very sorry. I have worked in AAA. I'm currently a lecturer at tertiary level at Media Design School in Auckland, and I've been teaching students like you for 2 years. I teach game design fundamentals, I teach 2D game art, and I also teach ethics in games, so like issues that are currently facing our industry and research around that. So yeah, also currently working with my partner on a company called Group Hug where we make really weird crap like bears and school uniforms, and we're also publishing some games at the moment, which is very exciting and a lot of work. So I'm here to talk about some things I've learned or whatever, I don't know. I've had a really weird path into the industry. I actually have a double honours in Japanese and Mandarin, and I sold all of my stuff, turned down a job offer from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and moved to Germany to work for Ubisoft instead. I don't really know how that happened, it just kind of did. Games for me were never really something I thought I could do. When I was looking at my options to go to university, there was no games courses for me at that time. So you guys are so lucky. I really wish I could have done that, because that would have been my calling, but instead I went and did something sensible, and now I'm here. So the first thing I'm going to say is Twitter is one of the best, if not the best, tools for growing your career. I've been on Twitter since, I think, 2013, and it has been better than going to any single conference, going to one GDC, going to just any one tool. It has grown my career so much. It has allowed me to share my work with hundreds of thousands of people. It's allowed me to meet colleagues. A lot of the colleagues that are talking today, I actually met them first through Twitter and later met them in person, which was pretty awesome. And it's really funny because when you go to conferences, everyone knows each other by their handles before they know them by their real name, so that's pretty exciting. I've gotten contracts through Twitter, I've gotten jobs through Twitter, I've built my network, and that network I can use for my own projects, so for my games and for my own company. Also promoting my students' work, which I harp on about a lot. And also market testing, and this has worked a lot, especially for this bear thing. So I really wanted to make a visual novel game about a bear in a high school setting, but this never explicitly referenced that this girl is a bear. She's just a normal girl. And it's about like the struggles of fitting in. So I've been working on it in something called Live 2D. And if it plays, is there music?
If you hook in the...
Oh.
There's a... Yeah.
It really makes it.
It's so good.
Woefully unprepared. So I've been working on this game, and I've been fiddling around with this Live 2D software, which is where you can put 2D sprites onto 3D planes and distort it to make it look like it's faux 3D, which is very cool. And I was messing around, and I really like Fleur East's sax song, and I thought this would be a great idea. We're still not. Did I break it? The story of my life.
Oh, I didn't think you were QA.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm like hyping it up.
It's really worth the wait. It's so good. Is it pinned to your Twitter? Lucy?
Pardon?
Is it pinned to your Twitter right now?
It's not pinned anymore. Melbourne Games Week is pinned now. It's taken over my life.
It's taking over all of our lives. Oh wait, mostly mine.
Yeah. Should I just give it up?
Maybe.
Let's give it up for Lucy Morrow.
No, that's not what I meant. No. You're a Mac guy.
Yeah.
PC Master Race.
Really?
Sorry. All right. Well, if we can't fix it, we can't fix it.
All right.
Okay.
Is there more to that? Is there no...
There's, oh, wait.
There we go.
Does this? Oh, man. Okay, another piece of advice is to be really careful when you're talking to press. I always say like really terrible things to press and at conferences, and my worst pull quote at the moment is that I've said that a game I'm working on is longer than Final Fantasy 13, and that appeared in like GameSpot and everything. It's just an absolute nightmare. All right, okay, so hopefully you guys can change the volume so it doesn't deafen everybody. It's still no. All right, okay, anyway, let's just move on because that's just embarrassing. Just imagine like him bopping to music. But anyway, after much ado. So that beer dancing got like 4.7 thousand likes and 2.5 thousand retweets, and people just keep on commenting saying, oh, I just look at this when I'm sad. It makes me really happy. But that's really cool market testing. Like already there's kind of awareness there about this bear in a schoolgirl uniform, and I can build on that kind of hype later on. There was also a really cool hashtag called Visible Women, and a lot of people women that work in games and work in art and comics posted their work there, and I posted Transform, making a magical girl card game. Again, I don't make very normal things. And Anthony Birch followed me, and he's like, where can I get this game? So that was pretty cool. Putting your stuff out there, like the worst thing that can happen is that someone doesn't like it, and let's face it, people aren't always going to like our work, but when it goes right, it goes really right, and I think you should never be afraid of sharing stuff or using Twitter. This is probably a contentious point. I think as students, you're most poised, or as the next generation of our industry, are most poised to innovate on our medium. Try to innovate, don't replicate where possible. 2.5, please make weird things. You're the next generation of our industry, and you have the ability to explore more than the genre boundaries that are set to you and the staples that are set to you. You don't have to go out and make another open sandbox MMO with crafting and zombies. You can think outside that box and you can make exciting new things because you're poised at the best point to do that right now. You could even make a card game about penguin Tinder called Huddler. It's really cool. You match up the penguins that like the same things, and then you can flip them over, and they have little penguin babies, and you build the huddle outwards, and it's a cooperative game. You can do anything. You can do anything. One thing I think is really important, and I've done a lot of community work in my time in the industry. No matter whether you're a student or if you're not a student, you should give back to your community and your industry when possible. So that means doing things like volunteering at conferences like GCAP Loading or at GCAP, running your own initiatives or helping out with initiatives that other people are running. It's incredibly important. The guys on the right, if anyone's played Mini Metro, those are the Curry brothers, and they're absolutely amazing. Despite the fact they've been incredibly successful and are very busy, they still have the time to co-direct a festival with me in New Zealand, which is the first International Games Festival in New Zealand. So despite all of that, they still want to give back to the industry and the community and improve it. The other two photos are of my students volunteering at game design workshops for children, initiatives helping women to get into game development. And healthy communities are really about give and take. Whether you're a student or a professional or a hobbyist, giving back to your community helps this ecosystem to work and improves it. It adds to your CV and resume, which is never a bad thing if you can put relevant stuff on there, which also enables you to get better success rates on scholarships for stuff like IGDA. And it opens you up to more opportunities, it helps you network, and it improves the industry for people you're in and people that will follow you in the future. So I think this is really important. One thing is really important is beware of burnout and learn to look after yourself. Like I said, I teach at a tertiary level. When it's 5 o'clock, I go around and yell at all my students telling them to go home. It's really important not to crunch, and IGDA has just started an initiative to try and move away from that. You should be looking after yourself. You should have a life outside of games. You should be able to, go and chill for an evening rather than shouting at Maya. So please go and look after yourself. You're going to end up like this. I drew this when I was very stressed at the start of the year. You don't want to end up like this, so make sure you take the time for yourselves. Evoke emotion, and this doesn't mean that you have to make Life is Strange in every game. I just think that games are at such a point right now where they're so interactive, and with VR coming up, we have such an ability to evoke emotion in our players. You should be trying to do that with what you create, and you'll be really surprised, whether it's joy or anger or frustration, Dark Souls, it doesn't matter as long as you evoke something in the player, and we have the best ability to do that out of any other medium out there right now. So I think I'm just on time, and I'm not going to do questions because I already ruined it with my tech failure, but yeah, that's me.